The sleek silver ship descended through Earth's atmosphere, leaving a trail of iridescent particles against the blue sky. It was larger than any human aircraft, shaped like a teardrop with strange glowing patterns along its hull. Military jets scrambled to intercept, but kept their distance as ordered. Down below, crowds gathered despite government warnings to stay indoors. The year was 2087, and humanity was about to experience first contact with an alien civilization. Inside the United Nations Emergency Council chamber, Major John Carter adjusted his uniform and tried to maintain his composure. As head of Earth's hastily assembled First Contact Division, he carried the weight of humanity's future on his shoulders. "They're landing at the designated site," said Dr. Lisa Murphy, astrophysicist and linguistics expert. Her fingers moved rapidly across her tablet, analyzing incoming data. Atmospheric readings show breathable air being released from their vessel. "They can survive in our environment." Carter nodded. "That matches what they told us in their transmissions. Let's hope everything else they said was equally truthful." 3 months earlier, the Xanthari had sent their first message to Earth. They described themselves as representatives of the Galactic Council, a coalition of advanced species that govern this sector of the galaxy. Their stated mission was to welcome humanity into the interstellar community. The landing zone had been prepared in a flat desert region outside Phoenix. A perimeter of military vehicles surrounded the area, but weapons remained concealed as requested by the visitors. The ship settled onto the ground without sound or visible propulsion exhaust. For several minutes, nothing happened. Then a seam appeared in the hull, widening into a doorway from which emerged 3 tall figures. The Xanthari stood nearly 7 feet tall, with slender bodies covered in pale blue scales that shimmered in the sunlight. Their faces featured 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern above a small mouth with no visible nose. They wore simple silver garments that seemed to flow like liquid. "Ready?" Carter asked Murphy as their helicopter approached the landing site. She clutched her translation device. "As I'll ever be." The first meeting was broadcast worldwide. Humans watched as Carter and Murphy approached the aliens, who raised 4-fingered hands in a gesture that resembled a greeting. "We welcome you to Earth," Carter said formally. The lead Xanthari's mouth moved, producing sounds that Murphy's device translated with only slight delay. "We bring greetings from the Galactic Council. Your world has been monitored since your first radio transmissions. You have finally reached sufficient development to join our community." The alien's tone seemed friendly but held an undercurrent of superiority that wasn't lost on Carter. Still, the initial exchange went smoothly, and arrangements were made for the Xanthari delegation to meet with Earth's leaders. Over the next week, the visitors presented impressive displays of their technology. They offered knowledge of advanced medicine, faster-than-light travel, and energy production. Earth's governments were eager to access these technologies, but Murphy noticed the Xanthari seemed reluctant to share specifics. "They keep deflecting questions about how their systems actually work," she told Carter in private. "And have you noticed how interested they are in our water resources? They've requested surveys of all major freshwater reservoirs." Carter had noticed. "They're mapping our planet more thoroughly than necessary for diplomatic purposes." During the third formal meeting, the Xanthari finally revealed their true purpose. The lead representative, who called himself Ambassador Krex, addressed the United Nations General Assembly. To join the Galactic Council, each species must contribute resources necessary for the collective good. Earth is abundant in liquid water, a rare commodity in our systems. We require 30% of your planetary reserves as membership fee. The demand stunned the Assembly into silence. When Earth's Secretary General responded that such terms were impossible, Krex's demeanor changed instantly. "Perhaps we were unclear. This is not a negotiation." He activated a holographic display showing orbital images. "During our diplomatic exchange, we positioned defensive systems around your planet. You will comply or face consequences." As alarms began to sound in military installations worldwide, Carter locked eyes with Murphy across the chamber. First contact had just become first conflict. The bright flash came without warning. New York's harbor erupted in a massive explosion as the Xinthuri weapon struck from orbit. Similar blasts hit Shanghai, Sydney, and Rio de Janeiro simultaneously, Earth's greatest cities targeted with surgical precision. Inside the emergency bunker beneath the Pentagon, Major Carter watched the satellite feeds in horror. The attacks had begun just 6 hours after Earth's governments rejected the Xinthuri demands. Casualties? He asked, his voice tight. Early estimates put it at 12,000, replied Colonel Frank Wilson, his face ashen. They targeted port facilities and coastal infrastructure. Minimal strikes against military targets so far. Dr. Murphy rushed into the room, still wearing her lab coat. They're broadcasting on all frequencies, she said, connecting her tablet to the main screen. Ambassador Krex's face appeared, his 4 eyes blinking in an unsettling pattern. This demonstration was merciful by Council standards, the alien said. Your primitive weapons cannot reach our vessels. Surrender your water resources, or we will target population centers next. You have 6 hours to reconsider. The transmission cut off, leaving the room in stunned silence. They knew exactly where to hit us, Carter said quietly. They've been planning this from the beginning. Murphy nodded. I discovered something in their translation software. It wasn't just converting our language. It was copying all data it accessed. They've been harvesting our information since first contact. The president entered the room, flanked by security. His face showed the strain of the past hours. Options, people. I need options. General Adams, Joint Chiefs Chairman, stepped forward. We've attempted conventional missile strikes against their orbital positions. No effect. They have some kind of energy shielding. Our nuclear deterrent. We can't use nukes in low orbit, Carter interrupted. The fallout would rain down on our own cities. The president nodded grimly. What about their ship on the ground? They lifted off during the first strikes, Murphy explained. But I've been analyzing the data we collected. Their technology is advanced, but not incomprehensible. Given time, we might find weaknesses. Time is what we don't have, the president said, checking his watch. 5 hours until their deadline. The next few hours passed in frantic activity. Military forces worldwide mobilized, but satellite imagery showed more Xinthuri ships entering Earth's atmosphere. Smaller craft began landing near major freshwater sources, the Great Lakes, Lake Baikal, the Amazon basin. Carter pulled Murphy aside as they left another emergency briefing. They're going to take what they want whether we surrender or not, he said quietly. She nodded. I've been thinking the same. This feels like a standard procedure for them. I bet they've done this to other worlds. At the 5-hour mark, the Xinthuri launched another series of strikes, this time targeting military bases across Europe and Asia. The message was clear. Resistance was futile. With global communication networks faltering under Xinthuri electronic warfare, the world's governments made the painful decision to formally surrender to prevent civilian massacres. But even as the president announced Earth's capitulation on emergency broadcasts, Carter was already implementing the classified contingency plan. Key scientific and military personnel were being quietly evacuated to hidden facilities deep in the Rocky Mountains and the Australian outback. This is just the beginning, he told Murphy as they boarded a helicopter bound for the secret Cheyenne facility. We're setting up Operation Phoenix across 5 continents. Murphy clutched a hard drive containing all the data she'd gathered on Xinthuri technology. They think they've won, but they don't understand humans very well. As Earth formally surrendered, the Xinthuri began landing in force. Their ships descended near major reservoirs and lakes, deploying massive pumping equipment. Within days, they had established bases around the planet. What they didn't notice were the small groups of humans disappearing into wilderness areas, mountain ranges, and abandoned mines, carrying with them the seeds of resistance and the determination to reclaim their world. 5 years had passed since the Xinthuri occupation began. The blue-scaled aliens now controlled all major cities, extracting Earth's water resources with massive pumping stations. Humans who cooperated received rations and limited freedom. Those who resisted disappeared. But deep in the Rocky Mountains, humanity's resistance thrived. Colonel John Carter, now addressed as commander by the resistance, studied the holographic map in the underground war room. Red dots marked Syntheri strongholds, while blue indicated resistance cells. "Report," he said to the man who had just entered. Alan Wright, former Navy SEAL and now the Resistance's top infiltrator, placed a small alien device on the table. "Snatched this from their Rocky Mountain base. Nearly didn't make it out." Dr. Lisa Murphy immediately picked up the device, her eyes bright with interest despite the exhaustion etched on her face. "This looks like part of their communication array. It might be the missing piece we need." Over the years, Murphy had led a team of scientists in reverse engineering Syntheri technology. Progress was slow but steady. Each piece of alien tech they captured brought them closer to creating weapons that could fight back. "Any news of the Eastern cells?" Carter asked, turning back to Wright. "Boston Group successfully sabotaged a water transport last week. The Chicago cell wasn't so lucky." Wright's expression darkened. "They lost half their people in the raid." Carter nodded grimly. The resistance paid a heavy price for each small victory. Yet their numbers continued to grow as more humans witnessed Syntheri cruelty firsthand. In her laboratory section of the underground complex, Murphy connected the stolen device to her workstation. Screens lit up with alien text and diagrams. "Emma, look at this," she called to her assistant. "Their communication frequencies. They are shifting according to a pattern." Emma Peters, a brilliant programmer who had been a college student when the invasion began, leaned over to study the display. "If we can predict the shifts, we could listen in on their transmissions," Murphy finished, a rare smile crossing her face. 3 levels below, in the training area, Wright put new recruits through combat drills. They practiced using salvage Syntheri weapons alongside human firearms. "Move faster," he shouted as they navigated the obstacle course. "The blues can track your body heat. Standing still means dying." One recruit, a farmer who had lost his family when the Syntheri drained the nearby lake, stumbled but quickly recovered. Wright nodded approvingly. The resistance needed that kind of resilience. Later that night, Carter, Murphy, and Wright gathered with other section leaders for the weekly council. "The water extraction has accelerated," reported Susan Rivera, head of intelligence. "They've nearly depleted the Great Lakes. Our people there say they're preparing to move the equipment south." "And that's not all," Wright added. "I found something in their base, records of other planets. Earth isn't their first victim. They've done this across dozens of worlds." Carter's jaw tightened. Anything useful in those records? "Weaknesses, planets that fought back. Most surrendered like we did," Wright replied. "But there was mention of one species that caused them trouble. The data was incomplete." Murphy stood up suddenly. "I need to show you something." She activated the central display, showing molecular diagrams. "We've been analyzing their shield technology for years. There's a reason they wanted our water. Their technology uses a specific isotope of hydrogen that's abundant in Earth water." "And," Carter prompted, "and we've developed a countermeasure." Murphy's eyes gleamed. "A special alloy that disrupts their shielding frequency. We've created prototype weapons that can penetrate their defenses." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. "How many can you make?" Carter finally asked. "With our current resources, enough to arm about 20% of our forces." Carter nodded slowly. "We'll need to be strategic. Target their command centers first." Wright grinned. "Just point me where to go." In her lab that night, Murphy activated the test chamber. Inside, a captured Syntheri shield generator hummed to life, creating the same blue energy field that had repelled Earth's most powerful weapons. She loaded the prototype weapon, aimed, and fired. The energy bolt passed through the shield and destroyed the target behind it. For the first time in 5 years, Earth had a fighting chance. The attack began at dawn across 6 continents simultaneously. After years of planning, Earth's resistance struck back against their Xanthari overlords. In what had once been downtown Seattle, Alan Wright led a team of 12 fighters, each carrying the new shield-penetrating weapons Dr. Murphy had created. They moved silently through the ruins, approaching the gleaming blue dome that served as the Xanthari's West Coast Command Center. "Remember the plan," Wright whispered to his team. "Aim for their environmental systems first. Once their atmosphere destabilizes, they'll be vulnerable." 5 miles away, Commander Carter monitored the operation from a hidden bunker. Radio signals bounced through a network of underground relays to avoid Xanthari detection. "All teams report ready," said Susan Rivera, now Carter's second-in-command. "Sydney team has begun their approach. London and Cairo are in position." Carter took a deep breath. "Give the signal. Operation Phoenix is go." Around the world, resistance fighters emerged from hiding. They targeted not just command centers, but the massive water pumping stations the aliens had built to drain Earth's resources. Wright's team was the first to breach a command center. They used Murphy's weapons to cut through the previously impenetrable shields, catching the Xanthari completely by surprise. The aliens had grown complacent after years of unopposed rule. "They never expected us to reverse engineer their tech," Wright said as he planted explosives on the environmental system. "Their mistake." The explosion sent Xanthari troops scrambling for emergency breathing apparatus. In the confusion, Wright's team pushed deeper into the facility. At the main control center, they found what they were looking for: the communication hub linking to the orbiting Xanthari vessels. "Hub secured," Wright reported over the radio. "Murphy's team can begin transmission." In her mountain laboratory, Murphy activated the signal she had spent years perfecting. It carried a virus designed to infiltrate Xanthari systems and disable their weapons. "Sending now," she said, fingers flying across the alien interface they had modified. "If this works, their ships will be defenseless for approximately 8 minutes. Those 8 minutes would determine Earth's future." Across the planet, hidden missile batteries activated, targeting the Xanthari ships in orbit. These missiles, modified with Murphy's shield-penetrating technology, streaked toward their targets. "First impacts confirmed," Rivera announced, watching satellite feeds. 2 ships disabled. 5. 8. Carter allowed himself a small smile. "What's the status on ground forces?" "We've taken control of pumping stations in Michigan, Siberia, and the Amazon. Fighting continues in Africa and Australia." The Xanthari responded with brutal force where they could, but their coordination was shattered. Without their orbital support and with their shields failing, they found themselves vulnerable for the first time. In Seattle, Wright's team captured the command center intact. More importantly, they captured the regional commander, a high-ranking Xanthari named Krell. "You cannot defeat the Council," the alien hissed as Wright secured him. "We are but one expedition. More will come." "That's exactly what we're counting on," Wright replied. "We want them to come, on our terms next time." By nightfall, the resistance had achieved what had seemed impossible that morning. They controlled 7 major Xanthari bases and had destroyed or disabled most of the orbital fleet. In the mountain headquarters, Carter addressed the gathered resistance leaders. "Today we've proven that humanity will not surrender its world," he said, "but this is just the beginning. From the data we've captured, we now know the location of the Galactic Council's homeworld." Murphy stepped forward, displaying a star map on the main screen. "The Xanthari ships we've captured are still functional. With modifications, they can reach Council space. You're suggesting we take the fight to them?" Rivera asked, eyes wide. Carter nodded grimly. "They came to our world, took our resources, killed our people. Now they'll learn what happens when you provoke humanity." As resistance teams worldwide secured their victories, a captured Xanthari transport was brought to the mountain base. Inside its database was the key to interstellar travel and Earth's pathway to retribution. The counterstrike had succeeded. The invasion was over. Now, the retaliation would begin. The 7 ships rose from Earth's atmosphere, their hulls gleaming with a combination of original Xinthari metal and human modifications. Each vessel had been renamed for a continent: Africa, Asia, North America, South America, Europe, Australia, and Antarctica. Together, they formed humanity's first interstellar fleet. On the bridge of North America, newly promoted General Carter watched as Earth shrank to a blue dot behind them. FTL systems charged and ready, reported the navigator, a former commercial pilot who had spent 3 years mastering alien technology. Course to Galactic Council space is laid in. Carter nodded. All ships report status. One by one, the captains of the other 6 ships confirmed their readiness. The last to report was Dr. Murphy from Antarctica, which had been converted into a mobile research vessel. "Antarctica ready," she said, her face appearing on the main screen. "Our scientific team has made progress understanding the Xinthari database. I've forwarded the latest intelligence to all ships." "Very good," Carter said. "Ladies and gentlemen, this mission will take 6 months at maximum FTL speed. Our objective is clear: reach Council space, demonstrate our capability, and negotiate Earth's permanent independence. If negotiation fails—" He paused. "We all know what's at stake." With a surge of energy that sent vibrations through the deck plates, the 7 ships activated their faster-than-light drives and vanished from Earth's solar system. The journey through interstellar space was not uneventful. 2 months in, the fleet detected an unusual signal coming from a nearby star system. "It's not Xinthari," Murphy reported from Antarctica after analyzing the data. "The pattern suggests a different species entirely." Carter made the decision to investigate. The fleet dropped out of FTL near a small rocky planet orbiting an orange star. What they found shocked even the most prepared among them. The planet showed clear signs of strip mining and water extraction, the same pattern the Xinthari had begun on Earth. But the inhabitants were not human. The Vexari, as they called themselves, were tall, slender beings with gray skin and 4 arms. Their civilization was in ruins, their planet's resources nearly depleted by Galactic Council harvesting. "They've been doing this across the entire sector," said Roy Bailey, Wright's second-in-command, after returning from the surface. "The Vexari have been under Council control for almost 30 Earth years." Carter called an emergency meeting of all ship captains. "This changes things. We're not just fighting for Earth anymore." Murphy agreed. "The Vexari still have some ships the Council didn't take. They want to join us." Not everyone was convinced. "We barely have enough resources for our own mission," argued Captain Diana Harris of Europe. "Taking on allies could jeopardize everything." Wright, who commanded Australia, disagreed. "We need all the help we can get. Besides, they know Council space better than we do." After hours of debate, Carter made his decision. "We came to space to stop the Council from threatening any world again. That includes the Vexari." 3 Vexari ships, with crews eager for vengeance, joined the Earth fleet. Their knowledge proved invaluable, helping navigate the complex political boundaries of Council space. As the journey continued, the fleet encountered 2 more species with similar stories: the insectoid Krell and the amphibious Morkai. Both had suffered under Council exploitation. Both contributed ships and fighters to the growing coalition. 5 months into the journey, Murphy made a breakthrough with the captured Xinthari navigational charts. "I've located the Council's central world," she announced during the daily briefing. "It's called Xinth Prime. All policy decisions come from there, including the resource harvesting directives." The fleet adjusted course. With the addition of their allies, they now numbered 17 ships, still tiny compared to the Council's armada, but armed with technologies the Council believed no lesser species could possess. On the final approach to Council space, Carter addressed all crews across the Allied fleet. We left Earth seeking justice for our world. We now fight for all worlds the Council has victimized. In one day, we will reach the edge of Council space. Their defense grid is formidable. But they don't expect us. They don't believe we are capable of reaching them. He paused, looking at the faces of humans and aliens united in common cause. They are about to learn how wrong they are. The Allied fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Zinth system. Immediately, alarm signals blared across all ships as sensors detected the massive defense grid protecting the Council homeworld. 17 orbital platforms, reported the tactical officer on North America, each with enough firepower to destroy our entire fleet. General Carter studied the holographic display, just as our Vexari friends described. Murphy, what's the status of our countermeasures? From Antarctica. Dr. Murphy's voice came through clear. The shield disruptors are ready, but they'll only work at close range. We need to get within 10,000 kilometers of those platforms. A dangerous silence fell over the bridge. Getting that close seemed impossible. I have a suggestion, said the Vexari commander, Vex, from his ship. The Council expects attacks from outside their system. They don't expect enemies to already be inside. Right. Joining the conversation from Australia. Caught on immediately. The supply ships. The ones bringing resources from harvested worlds. Precisely, Vex confirmed. They arrive daily, bringing water and minerals. Their security checks are minimal. The Council believes no lesser species could ever pilot their vessels. Carter nodded slowly. So we disguise ourselves as a resource transport. The plan came together quickly. The smallest ship in their fleet, Antarctica, would be modified to resemble a Zinthari transport. Murphy's team would create false identification signals while the rest of the fleet remained hidden behind a gas giant in the system. 20 hours later, Antarctica approached the defense grid, transmitting the stolen identification codes. On board, Murphy and a small crew including Wright maintained radio silence, watching nervously as automated defenses scanned their vessel. "They're hailing us," Murphy whispered, though no one could hear them across space. Wright took the communication position, having practiced Zinthari language patterns for months. He sent back the short, efficient responses expected from transport crews. Minutes stretched like hours as they drifted closer to the nearest defense platform. When they were finally in range, Murphy activated the shield disruptor. "Platform shields down," she reported through the secure channel to the waiting fleet. "Uploading virus now." The virus, a refined version of what they had used on Earth, spread through the platform's systems and into the central defense network. One by one, the warning lights on the orbital defenses winked out. "All platforms compromised," Murphy confirmed. "We have control of their automated targeting systems." That was the signal. From behind the gas giant, the Allied fleet accelerated toward Zinth Prime at maximum speed. The Council detected them too late. As their ships scrambled to intercept, they discovered their own defense platforms turning against them, targeting Council vessels with precision fire. "The path to the central station is clear," Carter announced to the fleet. "Right, your team is up." Australia broke formation, heading for the massive space station that served as the Council's headquarters. Wright led a boarding party of humans, Vexari, and Krell fighters, all equipped with shield-penetrating weapons. They breached the station using access codes extracted from captured Zinthari officers. Inside, they encountered fierce resistance from Council security forces, not just Zinthari, but other species loyal to the Council. These must be the privileged worlds, Wright realized as he exchanged fire with reptilian soldiers. The ones who benefit from the exploitation. Fighting their way through the station, Wright's team reached the central control hub. There they found the High Council, representatives from 7 species who directed the harvesting operations. "Impossible," gasped the Zinthari counselor as humans entered their sacred chamber. "How did lesser beings reach us?" Wright activated his communication device. "General, we've secured the command center. Patching you through to the Council now." On the main screen, Carter's face appeared, stern and uncompromising. "I am General John Carter of Earth. You attacked our world, extracted our resources, and killed our people. You've done the same to countless other worlds." The council members exchanged nervous glances as Carter continued. "At this moment, your defense grid is under our control. Your fleet is being dismantled. But unlike you, we didn't come here for destruction." From another screen, Murphy joined the broadcast. "We're transmitting evidence of the Council's crimes to every world in your sphere of influence. The truth about your resource management is now public knowledge." The oldest council member, a wizened being with translucent skin, stood shakily. "You cannot overthrow centuries of order. The council system maintains stability." The Grand Assembly Hall of the former council headquarters buzzed with voices speaking dozens of languages. Representatives from over 50 worlds gathered on the station now renamed Unity. It had been 3 months since Earth's forces had overthrown the Galactic Council. General Carter stood at the central podium, surveying the diverse gathering. Beings of all shapes, sizes, and compositions filled the chamber. Some he recognized from their alliance, others newly freed from council domination. "The last of the council loyalist forces surrendered yesterday," he announced, his voice translated into 27 languages simultaneously. "The era of exploitation is officially over." Applause and various sounds of approval echoed through the hall. Among the delegates, Dr. Murphy sat with a group of scientists from different species, exchanging notes on their shared technologies. "Our first act must be to return stolen resources," Carter continued. "Earth will reclaim its water, as will all affected worlds. The transport ships have already begun this process." A tall Vexari rose from her seat. "And what happens after? What prevents a new power from doing exactly what the Council did?" It was a question everyone had been asking. Carter gestured to the side of the stage, where Wright waited with representatives from the 5 major species of their alliance. "We propose a new form of interstellar governance," Wright explained, stepping forward. "Not based on domination, but cooperation. Each world maintains sovereignty over its resources and people. Trade and cultural exchange are encouraged but never coerced." The Earth delegation had spent weeks crafting this proposal with their allies. It wasn't perfect, but it provided a framework that respected all worlds equally. "The Alliance of Free Worlds," Carter said, naming their new organization, with headquarters rotating between member planets every 5 years to prevent any single world from gaining too much influence. Some delegates looked skeptical. A reptilian being from a former council-privileged world stood. "Your words sound noble, but you now control the most powerful fleet and weapons in known space. What guarantee do we have that humans won't become the new council?" Murphy rose to answer this challenge. "Because we're going home." Her statement caused murmurs throughout the hall. "Earth needs its defenders and its scientists. We didn't come to space to establish an empire. We came to end one." She activated a holographic display showing the technical specifications of the shield-disrupting technology and other advancements Earth had developed. "These designs will be shared with all member worlds. No single species will have technological superiority, including humans." The announcement shocked even some of the Earth delegation, but Carter nodded in approval. This had been part of their plan from the beginning. Over the next week, representatives debated and refined the Alliance Charter. Earth took a leading role but deliberately avoided dominating discussions. Carter insisted that even the smallest worlds have equal voice. On the final day, Wright found Carter staring out a viewport at the stars. "Having second thoughts?" Wright asked, joining him. Carter shook his head. "Just thinking about how far we've come. 5 years ago, we were hiding in mountain caves. Now we're reshaping galactic politics." "We did what we had to do," Wright said. "The hard part comes next, making sure this peace lasts." The charter signing ceremony took place the following day. One by one, representatives from 53 worlds added their marks to the document that would govern interstellar relations for generations to come. As Earth's designated representative, Carter was the last to sign. "With this," he said, placing the stylus down. We begin a new chapter in the history of all our worlds. The journey home took 2 months. As Earth grew from a distant star to a blue globe filling their view screens, the crews of the 7 Earth ships felt the weight of their accomplishment. Murphy joined Carter on North America's observation deck for their final approach. "The water transports arrived last week," she said. "The Great Lakes are refilling. It will take years to restore everything, but Earth is healing." Carter nodded. "And the defense system?" "Operational. If anyone ever tries to harvest Earth again, they'll get a very unpleasant surprise." As they entered orbit, they could see the rebuilding efforts already underway in cities damaged during the occupation and liberation. New structures rose alongside restored natural environments. "What will you do now?" Murphy asked. Carter smiled. "I've had enough of war. I'm thinking of teaching, sharing what we've learned out there." He turned to her. "And you?"